If there is one thing that can rebuild the connection with your child, it's learning to validate their emotions. Think for a moment about that feeling of distance. Maybe your child is a teenager who lives locked in their room, responding in monosyllables, and you feel a chasm has formed between who you were and who you are today. Or maybe your child is young, and the tantrums and crying fits feel like pitched battles that always end with you exhausted and them hurt, creating small daily cracks in your relationship. This disconnection, this invisible wall that rises between parents and children, doesn't come from nowhere. It is built brick by brick with a very common and often invisible mortar: emotional invalidation. And the good news, the promise contained in our conversation today, is that just as it was built, it can be demolished. And the most powerful tool for this demolition is validation. But what, after all, is validating an emotion? Before defining what it is, let's understand what it is not. To validate is not to agree, it is not to say they are right, and above all, it is not to be permissive. The great fear of parents is, if I validate my child's anger, will they think they can destroy the whole house? If I validate their sadness for not getting a toy, will they become spoiled? The answer is no. Invalidation is what most of us learn to do, often with the best of intentions, in an attempt to make the child's pain go away faster. Invalidation is saying it was nothing when a child falls and scrapes their knee. It's saying, stop crying over that silly thing when they lose a game. It's saying, but you have so many other friends, when a teenager suffers over a broken friendship. It's trying to fix the feeling with a logical solution or a distraction. Every time we do this, the message the child receives is devastating. What you feel is wrong. What you feel is an overreaction. What you feel doesn't make sense. And the consequence of this is that the child learns to no longer trust their own inner universe. They begin to feel alone, misunderstood, and worse, ashamed of their own feelings. And that's where the connection breaks. Because to connect, a child needs to feel that they can bring their whole self, with all its emotional mess, to you and be welcomed. If they learn that certain emotions are not welcome, they begin to hide parts of themselves, and the name for that is distance. Validation, on the other hand, is the act of communicating to your child. I see you. I hear you. What you are feeling is real. It makes sense, and I am here with you. It is being an emotional safe harbor. It is acting as a mirror that reflects the child's feeling, helping them to understand what is happening inside them. To validate is to kneel down to your child's level in the middle of a crying fit and say, "Son, I see that you are very, very sad right now." It's that simple. The first step is not to solve, not to question, not to judge. It's just to name. By naming the emotion, you take it from a place of frightening chaos and bring it into the light of consciousness. You give the feeling an outline, and that in itself already lessens its intensity. The child thinks, oh, the name for this thing I'm feeling is sadness. And my mom, the person I love most, isn't scared of it. So maybe I don't need to be scared either. The second step of validation is to legitimize the feeling, showing that you understand their perspective. And here is the key. Understanding their perspective does not mean agreeing with it. It just means acknowledging that, from their point of view, the feeling makes sense. Let's look at practical examples. Your 5-year-old is furious because his little brother knocked down the block tower he spent half an hour building. The invalidating reaction would be, don't fight with your brother. He's little. He didn't mean it. Build another one. The validating reaction would be, son, I understand your anger. It makes total sense that you're furious. You worked so hard to build that tower and suddenly it's gone. I would be frustrated too in your place. Do you feel the difference? In the first reaction, you defended the brother and minimized the older child's feeling. In the second, you connected with him. You became an ally of his emotion. And only after establishing this bridge of connection can you set the limit on the behavior. The conversation continues. And even with all this anger, we cannot yell at your brother. Let's think of something you can do to get this anger out without hurting anyone. Think of the teenager who comes home devastated because they weren't invited to a party. The invalidation. Oh, that's silly. That party wasn't even going to be that cool. Let's do something else. The validation. Wow, honey, I'm so sorry. Being left out hurts a lot. It's normal to feel sad and rejected. I'm here if you want to talk about it, or if you just want to be quiet. What do you need right now? In the first approach, you closed the door to connection. In the second, you threw it wide open. You communicated that their feeling is legitimate and that you can handle being by their side in their pain without needing to fix it. This builds deep trust. The next time something hurts, they will know they can come to you instead of isolating themselves. The connection, which may have been fragile, has just been reinforced with a beam of trust. Many parents fear that validating emotions will create soft or dramatic children. Neuroscience shows the exact opposite is true. Emotions that are invalidated don't disappear. They shout louder to be heard, often through even worse behaviors. It's the famous pressure cooker effect. On the other hand, an emotion that is seen, named, and welcomed loses its explosive charge. It can be processed and released. By validating, you are not encouraging drama. You are teaching emotional regulation. You are giving your child the tools so that in the future, they can do this for themselves. Validation is not a free pass for all kinds of behavior. It is the foundation upon which healthy boundaries are built. The formula is always, validate the feeling, limit the behavior. I know you want to stay at the playground. It's so much fun. I understand your frustration about having to leave, and now it's time to go home. It's a balance of empathy and firmness. So if you feel this distance, if you long to rebuild that bridge with your child, start today. Start small. The next time a big emotion arises, stop. Take a deep breath and silence your impulse to fix, to minimize, or to judge. Get closer, look them in the eye, and try to be a mirror. It seems like you're really disappointed. I see your anger. That must be very scary. And watch the magic happen. You might see your child's shoulders relax. You might see the tears calm down. But most importantly, you will see a glimmer of recognition in their eyes, the expression of someone who felt, perhaps for the first time, truly seen. And each of these moments is one less brick in the wall of disconnection. It is the rebuilding of the path back to each other. A path paved with the security that, in your heart, all feelings are welcome. If this message gave you hope and a new tool to connect with your child, please leave a like and share it with other families who need this light. Comment below what small change you will try to practice today. Together, we can demolish the walls that separate us from the people we love most.